Do you often give presentations in your company? Has anyone ever asked you a question about your presentation and you wondered how to answer? Did you know that there are some phrases and strategies that can help you take questions in your presentations and/or meetings? Well, in this short video, we are going to tackle that. Hi, welcome to Tall TV. My name is Sina, and in this short video, we are going to be talking about phrases and strategies that can help you take questions in your presentations or your meetings. First, let's divide questions into two types. Type 1, easy questions. Type 2, difficult questions, or more challenging questions. But what are easy questions? The questions, the answers to which you know, or you can manage to take them successfully. When your audience asks you an easy question, you can use these phrases. Good point. I'm glad you asked that. Or, I'm glad you brought that up. That's a very good question. That's actually a question I frequently get asked. It's always polite to thank the asker. This makes you sound more professional and also buys you some time to prepare the answer. You can use these phrases to thank the asker. Thank you for the question. I appreciate your asking about that. Thanks for bringing that up. So far we talked about easy questions. Now let's talk about difficult or more challenging questions. Difficult questions can also be divided into two types. Type 1, questions that you can take. Type 2, questions that you can't take. But what kind of questions can you take? And what does it exactly mean? Well, there are some questions, the answers to which you only partially know, or you may need some time to think about them and reflect on them later. If you can take a question that is difficult to answer, it is first wise to thank the asker, just as explained earlier in this video. Then you can use two strategies. Strategy number 1, ask for clarification. For example, imagine Jack asks you this question. What would you do if your project plan doesn't work out? Well, as you can imagine, this question can be difficult because you may need some time to think about it and you do not have the answer right at that moment. So you can answer like this. Thank you, Jack, for bringing this up. As you know, the success or failure of a project depends on so many different criteria. Would you please be more specific and address the exact criteria you have in mind? This way, you asked for more clarification and bought yourself some time. Now let's move to the second strategy. Offer written conversations. So if there is a difficult question but you can take it, you can always offer written conversations. Imagine the situation with Jack. You can also answer like this. Thank you, Jack, for the question. Would you please send me an email after the presentation so that I can give you the best possible answer? So far, we have talked about difficult questions that you can take during your presentations or your meetings. Now let's move to the difficult questions that you cannot take them for so many reasons. There may be 3 main reasons that you can't take a question. 1 could be because you don't understand the question. 2 could be perhaps you don't have an answer for that question. And 3 could be, for example, because you don't feel right that you're the right person to answer that question. Now, let's tackle each of these reasons one by one. First, imagine somebody asks you a question and you don't understand it. Now, if somebody asks you a question and you don't understand it, make sure you request for rephrasing. For example, "I'm not sure I perfectly understand the question. Would you please rephrase it?" Next are questions that you can't take because you have no answer for them. At such situations, it's always easy just to say, "I don't know." But it's not the wisest thing to do. In a meeting or in a presentation, you need to be diplomatic. And also you need to take into consideration that you're presenting your materials or you're presenting your company, and it's not always a wise thing to just say, "I don't know." Now again, imagine the situation with Jack. If you don't have an answer for that question, you can't just say, "I don't know." Instead, you can use this phrase. "To be perfectly honest with you, I don't have an answer for your question, but may I have your contact information so that I can get back to you perhaps by tomorrow?" This way, you're actually saying that you don't have an answer and you don't know the answer, but you're doing it in a polite and in a diplomatic way. And finally are the questions that you can't take because you feel that you're not the right person to do so. Perhaps because your supervisor or the CEO of the company are better people to answer that question. At such moments, you can use these phrases. "Thank you for the question. It's out of the scope of this presentation." "I'm not sure I'm the right person to answer that question, but perhaps Mr. Williams can help better." "I don't have all the data right now, but I'm sure that's a very good question." So in this short video, we learned how we can diplomatically take questions in our presentations and/or in our meetings. Also, keep in mind that you need to leave some space and time for your audience to ask their questions, perhaps at the end of your presentation. So make sure to say, "If you have any questions, now I take them," or "If there are any questions, I would be glad to answer them." And now, if you have any questions for this video, do not hesitate to drop them in the comment section below. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with those who you think can also find it helpful. Also, subscribe to Tall TV, click the bell to receive the notifications for the future videos. Until next time.